Now, one of my all-time favorite tools in WordPress for creating content is Yoast SEO. I use Yoast to guide everything from writing content for local media to clients on Textbroker. In fact, there's really little that I don't use it for. Well, unless I'm being creative. Now, whether you use the premium or the free version, it does come with the readability aspect. And this is what we're going to focus on today. I'm Mike with WriterSanctuary, and today I'm going to show you how Yoast helps you write readable content. Now, when you're creating content, the most important aspect you need to keep in mind is its readability. Are you able to connect to an audience? Are you providing information somebody's looking for? And can they understand what the hell you're writing? Now, although everybody's writing style is a little bit different, there are some things that you need to keep in mind in order to have a good workflow. Because certain tools will show you what the readability score is, but you still have to put the words together. And if you can't really string a coherent thought together, then it doesn't really matter. So tools like Yoast will only go so far. Now, how Yoast works is that it gives you a green, yellow, red light type of format. Your objective is to keep as much green as possible. And as long as you keep readability and SEO green, your content will do fairly well on the internet. So built into Yoast is the Flesch Reading Ease score. Now, this is a study based on language and how it's used and what kind of content is more readable to the general audience. So anything below a 60 on the Flesch Reading Ease score makes it way too difficult. After all, you got to keep in mind that most of the people on the internet only read at an 8th grade reading level. So if you score anywhere from 60 on up, it's going to be fairly easier to read. This is based on sentence length, how long your paragraphs are, the type of words you use, how many syllables per word. And there's quite a bit that goes into the Flesch Reading Ease score, but if you adhere to it, then you're creating decent stuff that people can understand. And Yoast will analyze your content in real time as you're typing. Next up is analyzing between passive and active voice. Now, you want to use as much active voice as possible in your content. That's because using active voice makes your content more efficient. It makes it easier writing and more engaging. Plus, active voice helps you remove a lot of grammatical mistakes. In other words, it just reads better. Next up, Yoast will also count consecutive sentences. Now, what this means is that you want to start more than 2 sentences using the same word. It just reads horrible and is redundant. In fact, I don't even let my writers start or end a sentence using the same word twice in a row. There's all kinds of ways you can structure a sentence much better, and the redundancy just takes something away from it. And I view it as being more professional. But Yoast will flag it if it starts with at least 3 sentences using the same word. You want to have more variety in the stuff that you write. Again, it's all about engagement and keeping the reader on your website. The next thing Yoast will analyze is your subheading distribution. Now, the reason why subheadings are important is because it breaks up the content and makes it easier to absorb. This is especially true if you're aiming at mobile device users. No one wants to go to a website and see a wall of text in front of them. Plus, subheadings let you break up the content according to specifics of a certain topic. So if you want to write a blog post about 10 best methods to cook chicken, each one of those methods could be its own subheading. This separates whether you're using a teriyaki recipe or buttery herb garlic recipe. This helps readers find specific types of content within your blog post. Next up, Yoast will analyze your paragraph length. And this kind of goes into the whole readability aspect where you don't want your paragraphs to be overly long. Like I said, when I'm reading from a mobile device, it's a wall of text and it's easy for the eyes to get lost. So you want to keep your paragraphs kind of short. Normally mine range between 2 and 3 sentences depending on the topic that I'm writing about. And there's some experts out there that have a sentence as their own paragraph. I think that's a bit too excessive, but that works for them. But the key point here is that you don't want too much text crammed into one spot. Yoast will also analyze your sentence length, and this kind of goes along the same lines as the paragraph length. You don't want your sentences to be overly long. Like when you're typing it out and one sentence takes up 3 lines of your text, that's a bit excessive. It's always best to break it up and separate into 2 or 3 sentences. That way it's easier for the reader to absorb and keep them going. Otherwise it becomes droll and you can lose the reader's attention. And lastly, Yoast wants to make sure that you have enough transition words. Now, transition words are those that connect the content together. They help enhance the readability of your content and keep the flow of text going evenly to the reader. And the cool part is that any one of these aspects in Yoast, you can click on the link in the plugin on WordPress and it'll take you to a blog post that breaks down exactly why you have to do certain things. In fact, Yoast also has a list of things like transition words to get you started. And in reality, I've used quite a few transition words just in that past paragraph. In other words, it just makes the content flow a lot easier for the reader. keeps everything connected right. It prevents a disconnect between the two sentences. So let's see Yoast SEO in action, shall we? This is on my testing blog, and you see this is yet another test post, and I've already filled in a little bit of text already, and when you scroll down you can see Yoast has already given me my score. Now the cool thing is in WordPress, if you're using the Gutenberg editor, which I am in this aspect, if you look over to the right here you have Yoast. If you click on it, you can also get the same information if you just click on the analysis. This will tell you all the cool breakdowns. Now if you're looking for specifics like transition words, if I click the eyeball, it'll highlight all of these sentences that have transition words in them. And we just click it again to remove the highlights. Okay, so let's uncheck Yoast here, give us our full screen, and let's go ahead and see what happens if we try to start 3 sentences using the word I. So, I like to eat ice cream. I like, it a lot, which is why I weigh so much. I love chocolate. See, you can already see at the very bottom how something turned red. Chocolate peanut butter. So if we scroll down, you see that we have problems here. Consecutive sentences contains 3 consecutive sentences starting with the same word. Now we don't want that. And at any point that if you have like a much longer piece of text and you want to find where this is at, if you click on the eyeball, Yoast will highlight it in the WordPress post for you. So all we gotta do is just change that up. Instead of saying I love chocolate peanut butter, I would do peanut butter chocolate is my favorite. And it cleared off the error. So there we go. That's how Yoast works. But as you can see, Yoast SEO tracks your typing in real time, so that's really handy when you're creating a very long piece of content. And after a while, you start learning all the ins and outs of how to create something that's readable, and you start doing things automatically. In fact, nowadays it's very rare that I write anything that isn't green automatically by the time I get it done. That's because I learned all the different ins and outs of how to create something that's readable. And that's the point of Yoast SEO. You click on any one of those links that for the description of what they are, and it takes you to a blog post and breaks down why it's important. Now, do you absolutely need to use Yoast in order to create something that's great on Google? No. However, it will definitely help, especially if you're kind of new to freelance writing or blogging. Because in the end, it's all about engaging with your audience and keeping people on your website. If you're using superfluous language that nobody can understand, you're going to lose a lot of your audience. Unless you're writing a medical journal, a legal document, or scientific papers, you really don't need to use big, extravagant words. I know when I started freelance writing, I used to use as many big words as I could, mostly to show off that I have a firm grasp of different pieces of the English language. I found out that that's not what everybody wants to read. In fact, Textbroker used to give me crap for being too clinical. But when I started using tools like Yoast SEO and WordPress, I started getting fewer revisions and people really like the content on Textbroker. And it's helped me write some awesome posts that people seem to love in Google's search results. But like I said, it's only a tool. It's up to you to still put the words together. That's the real trick of being successful. Delivering what your visitors want to read. Because if you're not doing that, then it doesn't matter what tool you use. And if you mix Yoast SEO with Grammarly, you create some amazing content. So what's your favorite app for creating content? Like I said, I love Yoast. I use the hell out of Grammarly. I have the Grammarly Chrome extension installed on my computer at all times. In fact, Yoast SEO with Grammarly's Chrome extension does such a good job that my writers for my client also use it as well. It's just a winning combo. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you want to see more videos about WordPress, freelance writing, blogging, Textbroker, or anything else I cover, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. I think it's going to do it for me today. I'll see you next time.